Today's video is all about being bi. In this case, bilingual. A certain thing that seems to come up again and again and again in the comment sections of my other videos that have to do with Norway is the fact that I speak English with an English accent. I don't really have a Norwegian accent. Why does an English person care this much about Norway, etc. And it seems to be really hard for some people to grasp the concept that you can actually be multinational, you can be bilingual. You can actually speak two languages and you can be from two places. It is actually possible. In my case, my dad is from England, my mum is from Norway, which makes me 50% Norwegian and 50% English. I was born and raised in Norway where my parents both lived, and I lived there until quite recently when I moved to Copenhagen, Denmark. I've never really actually lived in the UK. I have grandparents and a cousin and an aunt that lives there, but I myself have never lived there. I have lived in the US for a little bit, but that's a different story. So when I grew up and I started to learn how to speak, I would speak both Norwegian and English from the start. So my dad would speak English to me, and my mum would speak Norwegian to me, and my parents would both speak English to each other. It was very confusing for people outside of our family to come into our family life setting and understand that we pretty much spoke cross languages to each other, and it was kind of confusing, I guess. I just never seemed to have any problem with it because growing up with one or two languages is pretty much the same for me. People tend to ask me which language is the easiest. I don't really think about it like that because when it's your native tongue, you don't really consider whether it's easy or hard to speak because it's just a natural reflex, like scratching an itch. So honestly, English and Norwegian are pretty much similar for me. Whether or not I think Norwegian or English is the easiest language to learn for someone who isn't a native speaker, that is a completely different topic. Completely depend on where you come from and what your language background is, of course. And of course there are a million other factors that factor into it. I would probably say that English is the most important language to learn. Obviously, why would you learn Norwegian if you didn't know English? That would be ridiculous. I tend to prefer English over Norwegian when it comes to things like movies, TV shows, and of course books as well. I don't really know why, I just feel like the flow of English is much better and it feels more versatile. Like Norwegian language sometimes feels really stilted, and that the Norwegian language might have certain tiny phrases that you wouldn't be able to express correctly, where you have more abilities to do that in the English language. Finally, I guess I just want to say that growing up as a polyglot kind of made me feel like I didn't have one particular national identity. Like some people call me Norwegian, which is fine, I am Norwegian, but I am also just as much English, and certain people seem to forget that part of me because I've only ever lived in Norway, like I said. But honestly, I feel more like an international citizen than anything else, and I don't really feel like I belong to any one place. I could probably live in the UK. Right now I'm living in Denmark. I could probably move back to Norway. I could live in the US. I'd love to live somewhere weird for a while, like, I don't know, Nairobi or something. That would be really cool. I don't feel like I'd need to settle one place because that is my cultural heritage and my national heritage. So if any of you guys speak any other languages than English, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. I think it's really interesting to learn how people speak more than one language and which languages they do know, and why, of course, they speak them. You know, if it's because it's their national language or if they've learnt one language that they really wanted to learn. Oh, and I will definitely be teaching my kids both Norwegian, English, and my boyfriend will be teaching them Danish, so they will be polyglots as well. I honestly think there's nothing but positive things to benefit from teaching kids more than one language, and I also think that it increases their brain capacity and also increases their ability to relate to other people, and I just think it's really great. I hope you guys have a good evening, and then I'll see you soon. Bye!